So, you've decided to visit South Korea. Fantastic choice. Whether you're here for the food, the tech, or just to see what all the hype is about, you're about to step into a country that feels like it's living in the future while still holding tight to its past. You've seen the photos, alien-like skyscrapers that light up the night, robots that serve you coffee with a smile, and Wi-Fi so fast it'll make you question your own country's definition of high speed. Here, technology isn't just a convenience, it's a way of life, woven into every corner of the city. This is the land of Samsung, K-pop, and pro gamers who earn more than your dentist. It's a place where pop stars are national icons, and esports arenas fill up faster than football stadiums back home. But just as you're settling into this sci-fi utopia, you'll witness something that might surprise you. A young professional dressed in the latest fashion, bowing deeply to an elderly passerby. It's not just a polite gesture, it's a ritual performed with genuine respect. Suddenly you realize, beneath the surface of all this innovation, centuries-old Confucian tradition still rules daily life. The past isn't just remembered here, it's lived, side by side with the present. Here, respect for elders isn't optional, it's the code society runs on. From the way people greet each other to how families gather around the dinner table, age and hierarchy shape every interaction. The latest gadgets coexist with etiquette that's hundreds of years old. You'll see teenagers in Hanbok taking selfies on the latest smartphones, and tea houses nestled between neon-lit gaming cafes. One minute, you're in a VR arcade battling digital monsters. The next, you're sweating over who pours the soju at dinner, trying not to break any unspoken rules. South Korea is a master of balancing high-tech ambition with deep-rooted hierarchy. It's a place where the future and the past aren't at odds, they're partners in daily life. So pack your charger, and your patience for social codes. You'll need both to navigate this fascinating blend of old and new. You're visiting 2 centuries at once, where every street corner is a meeting point between tradition and tomorrow. Good luck, you'll need it, but trust me, it's worth every moment of culture shock. Let's talk about South Korea's soundtrack. On one side, K-pop, flawless vocals, synchronized dance, and global stardom. It's so powerful, teens in Ohio are learning Korean. But just across the border, Kim Jong-un drops a different kind of beat, missile tests that rattle nerves in Seoul. While the South exports pop culture, the North exports anxiety. For South Koreans, this bizarre duality is just daily life. They've learned to compartmentalize, celebrate a new BTS hit, then shrug off the latest missile alert. It's mental multitasking at its finest. The party in Seoul happens next to a very loud, unpredictable neighbor. The beat goes on, but sometimes the bass is a military drill. Welcome to the Korean Peninsula, where the playlist is always a wild mix. Enjoy the music, but don't forget the background noise, that's life here. In most countries, protests are loud, streets fill with chants, drums, and the blare of megaphones. The energy is raw, voices raised in anger or hope, demanding to be heard above the noise of daily life. This is the image many people have when they think of protest, a public outcry, a collective roar for change. But in South Korea, silence can be just as powerful, sometimes even more so. Here, protesters gather not to shout but to stand together in quiet solidarity, letting their presence speak volumes. The hush that falls over a crowd of thousands is striking, almost haunting, and it carries a message that words alone cannot express. The memory of the 1980 Gwangju uprising, when a brutal crackdown killed hundreds, still shapes how Koreans protest. The trauma of that event lingers, a reminder of the cost of speaking out too loudly, and the courage it takes to stand up for justice. It's a history that has taught Koreans the value of unity, discipline, and resilience in the face of oppression. Enter the candlelight protest. Thousands gather, holding candles or phone flashlights, creating a river of light that winds through city streets. Each flame represents a voice, a hope, a demand for change. The effect is mesmerizing, a visual symphony of solidarity that glows against the night. When President Yoon declared martial law, millions responded not with riots, but with peaceful, silent unity, and forced his impeachment. The world watched as a nation came together, not in chaos, but in calm determination, proving that strength can be found in restraint. This method, rooted in trauma and Confucian values, has toppled leaders before. The emphasis on respect, order, and collective responsibility is woven into the fabric of Korean society, shaping not just how people protest but how they relate to one another in times of crisis. It's protest as performance art. Disciplined, moving, and organized by social media. Choreographed displays, coordinated signs, and creative performances turn the demonstration into a living artwork, capturing the world's attention and inspiring others to join. For visitors used to noisy demonstrations, it's a lesson in the power of collective silence. The atmosphere is both peaceful and electric, a reminder that protest doesn't have to be chaotic to be effective. Even those who don't speak the language can feel the weight of what's happening. In Korea, you don't have to shout to be heard. The simple act of standing together, candles in hand, can send a message that echoes far beyond the city limits. If you see a sea of candles, you're witnessing democracy at its most elegant. It's a testament to the belief that change is possible, even in the quietest moments. Sometimes, the quietest voices make the biggest impact. That's the Korean way. A silent revolution burning bright in the darkness, lighting the path forward for all to see. South Korea is caught between two giants, the US and China. America is the security blanket, troops, alliances, and decades of military partnership. China is the economic powerhouse, South Korea's biggest customer for cars, electronics, and more. Every move Seoul makes is scrutinized by both sides. Military drills with the US, China threatens economic retaliation. Cozy up to China, the US questions your loyalty. President Lee Jae-myung walks a diplomatic tightrope at every summit. For Koreans, this is the backdrop of daily life, a constant reminder of their country's strategic vulnerability. South Korea tries to diversify, but the fundamental dilemma remains. How do you keep both superpowers happy? It's a high-stakes balancing act, and Korea is the pawn everyone wants to move. Every Wednesday, outside the Japanese embassy in Seoul, you'll find a small group of elderly women, halmonis, protesting. Survivors of WOO's Comfort Women system, they've gathered weekly since 1992, demanding a formal apology and reparations from Japan. Their protest is silent, dignified, and relentless, rain or shine, year after year. Now in their 90s, these women sit quietly, holding signs, bearing witness to history. Their presence is a living indictment of unresolved injustice. Supported by generations of activists, their vigil has inspired art, literature, and a global movement. For visitors, it's a raw look at Korea's soul, where memory outlasts politics. These grandmothers protest not just for themselves but for historical truth. Some things are too important to forget. Seoul's skyline screams future, glass towers, neon lights, and relentless ambition. But inside those buildings, ancient Confucian values still run the show. Hierarchy, respect for authority, and group harmony shape everything from boardrooms to daily life. The boss is king, and challenging them is taboo. This structure built Korea's economic miracle, but now it can stifle creativity and pile on pressure. You're encouraged to shine, just not brighter than your boss. The result? A society that's both innovative and constrained by tradition. The city looks like a tech utopia, but the software is centuries old. In Korea, the future and the past are always negotiating. To see Korea's future, look at its youth. Older generations remember war, poverty, and see the US as a savior, and dream of reunification. Young Koreans, they're pragmatic, critical, and wary of absorbing the North's economic burden. For them, unification is less a destiny, more a potential disaster. They're focused on jobs, housing, and carving out happiness in a hyper-competitive society. Cynical about politics, they're passionate about culture but exhausted by scandals. They've inherited prosperity and the pressure that comes with it. Their worldview is clear-eyed, practical, and a little bit weary. The next chapter of Korea will be written by realists, not romantics. South Korea's secret weapon? Semiconductors. The microchips powering everything from phones to cars. This tiny tech gives Korea huge leverage in the US-China rivalry. America needs Korean chips for its industries. China can't build its future without them. Korea's chip dominance lets it play both sides. Security with the US, business with China. But this power is also a target. Cyber attacks, tech espionage, and pressure to pick a side are constant threats. The chip industry is Korea's get-out-of-jail-free card, and its Achilles heel. In the global tech race, Korea is both kingmaker and battleground. The world's supply chain depends on this tiny peninsula's balancing act. Economic power is the new military might, and Korea's chips are at the center of it all. You've survived this crash course in Korean complexity. Now what? The real adventure begins the moment you step outside, armed with curiosity and a willingness to be surprised at every turn. South Korea isn't just a destination, it's a living, breathing paradox where the old and new collide in the most unexpected ways. Embrace the whiplash. One day you're wandering through a centuries-old palace tracing the footsteps of kings and queens. The next, you're losing a video game to a millionaire 12-year-old in a neon-lit PC bang. Here, tradition and technology don't just coexist, they dance together, creating a rhythm that's uniquely Korean. Don't try to make sense of it, just enjoy the ride. Let yourself get swept up in the energy of the city, where every street corner offers a new surprise, and every neighborhood has its own personality. Mind your manners, pour drinks for others, accept with two hands, and never stick chopsticks upright in rice. These aren't just rules, they're rituals that connect you to centuries of shared meals and respect. These small gestures earn big respect. Locals notice when you make the effort, and you'll find doors, literal and figurative, opening for you all over the country. Beneath the surface, history and geopolitics shape daily life, even if you don't see it. The echoes of the past are everywhere, from the monuments in the city to the stories shared over dinner. Knowing a bit about Korea's past and present will deepen your experience. Take time to listen, read, and ask questions. Every answer adds a new layer to your journey. Dive in, eat the street food sizzling on every corner, get lost in the maze of markets, sing your heart out at a noraebang, and try to keep up with the ever-evolving fashionistas strutting through Gangnam. There's no wrong way to experience Korea, just endless ways to make it your own. South Korea rewards curiosity and respect. The more you engage, the more the country opens up to you, revealing its warmth, humor, and generosity. Be open to confusion. You'll leave with a full stomach, a suitcase overflowing with skincare, and a head full of stories you never expected to collect. And you'll probably be planning your next trip before you even leave, already missing the chaos, the flavors, and the friends you made along the way. In Korea, living in multiple realities is just part of the adventure. Enjoy every contradiction, and let the organized chaos become your favorite travel memory.